We'll be riffing with Jeza. We'll be riffing. We'll be riffing. We'll be riffing.
G'day folks, welcome to Griffin's Jeza podcast. Very hot here today in KL, probably 36, 37 degrees. I was listening to a song of mine earlier, and it was a love song, and I sang it in this really heartbreaking, slightly sad way, and it is very moving, and I'm very proud of the song, but it just got me thinking about something, that music can be like, have a hypnotic effect, and the Matrix actually does this on purpose. It will create ideas in people through music and movies. And it's a way to program people. But I was listening to this song, and it occurred to me that, and this will be obvious for anyone who knows my music, but I do a lot of heartbreak music. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that per se, but it's just, if it's continuous, then it can be a way of sort of reactivating the same story, just in a musical form. So, if you keep singing a similar, or even listening to a similar idea over and over and over, that can really become part of your story. And as I was listening to this song, I was thinking to myself, in my life, love hardly ever works out. So I have this story, expectation it's not going to work out. And it's just interesting because when I was listening to myself sing that way, I could see the singing, and it's not even necessarily the story, because this particular song had a fairly positive story, but I sang it like a heartbreak. And it's just really interesting because the more this is done, the more it imbues this feeling into the body and into the life story. And as I said, like, a sad song has its place because, if we allow ourselves to feel emotions, we can also let go of stuff. So it's not a problem per se, but if it's done over and over and it's the central story, then that can be kind of like sort of dangerous in a way. It's kind of like you get actors who they play a part and they start to become that part. Like there was some psycho Australian movie and the guy was a psycho in the movie and he started to become extremely cold and nasty in actual life. And similarly, what's his name? There's a young guy who played Batman, the Joker, Heath Ledger. And, apparently he started getting really strange dreams when he was doing that role of the Joker, when he was playing this sort of villain. So basically, he was essentially practicing a state of being that was starting to wire in a new reality into his life. And as I was listening to this song, me singing this song, even though it's beautiful, I was thinking to myself, wow, how much have I imbued this story into my life? By always singing kind of this sort of way. And as I say, it doesn't mean you can't really enjoy some of these emotions, because they can be a great release. But if it's done over and over, then this soundtrack can start to become the soundtrack of your life. It's quite interesting. And actually, I think this has become a bit the soundtrack of my life. So, so something you can start to do is start to use music. So start to see your life in the way you want and use music to reflect that. So it doesn't have to be sung, it doesn't have to be like verbal music. But if you're picturing something with music, it's much more potent than without music, because music's really a really potent reinforcer. So, like a lot of these podcasts that I'm doing, I'm talking about my learnings, because if I wait till I've got it all sorted out, I'll be just about dead. Will be time to go anyway. So I may as well tell you about my learnings as we go. And this just popped into my head today as I heard myself singing. So let's do a meditation on this. So just have a little look at the trees. Okay, so breathing in. What's the soundtrack of your life? What's the emotion in it? What's the predominant emotion in it? What's the predominant story in it? And is this a plot that you're happy with? Is this a plot you'd like to improve? And so if you could improve this storyline, how would it look? So can you let yourself feel into the storyline of how you'd like it to be? Can you let yourself feel the feeling of the outcomes as you see yourself? And just let yourself really enjoy that. And this concept you've got in your mind about how it could be, about how it should be, of how you want it to be, what's some music you could put to this? Like if you're going to pick out some music, it doesn't have to be verbal lyrics. It could just be instrumental, it could be whatever. But what music would take you into the feeling of this outcome? And so I think what I might do today is I'm going to leave this podcast with one of my songs, one of my more positive songs. So what I'll do to finish this podcast is I'll put on one of my songs. And I might even do this 2 weeks in a row. And so I'll put on one of my songs that's called I Believe in You. And so basically it's the story of someone who's struggling a bit, but they believe in themselves. So you could take it a few ways, but it's like believing. I believe in you. I have trust in you. And so when you listen to it, really let yourself feel the feeling of what it would be like to believe in yourself. And so take a couple deep breaths. And just feel that feeling of that outcome you're looking for, and that you're actually believing in it.